Okay, G7s, welcome back. Right now we're going to look at how do we take these main points over here that we found by reading the article and turn that into a written summary paragraph of the Science News Report. And one of the things you would remember is your main points would, of course, not be able to be seen alongside your article because they're on the back of the article. So what that means is when we sit down to type and write, we should be looking over here, okay, at our main points, not the article. We would have the article turned over, which means we really would be writing it looking at a blank page, okay, and using that blank page while reading the main points. So how do I do that? Well, the first thing we want to remember is make sure you have your name at the very beginning. You would have the date. So if you can see my screen, it's September 2nd, 2011 today. Double space, and then I have the title of the article. Now I might need to go back and look at my article for that information. So I might flip it over and say, oh, the supposedly extinct red fox near Yosemite. Oops. Let's not do that. But the supposedly extinct red fox supposedly extinct red fox discovered near Yosemite National Park. Discovered near Yosemite National Park. Yep. So we would type that information in there. It was from the Los Angeles Times, and that was found on September 5th, 2010, almost a year ago. And then I'm going to start to write my article. Now, of course, if I'm making it look exactly the way I'm supposed to, I should turn that into bold, and then I'm going to write. Now, the way that we should take our information and put it over is to remember that I need to start with an introduction sentence. Okay? And I want to put that in. Following my introduction sentence should be my first main point. Then I might have a support sentence. Then it'll be a second main point with a support sentence following it. My third main point with a support sentence following it. And finally, I wrap it up with a conclusion sentence. Okay? And that's going to be my format. Now, what I'm going to do is actually go in and write this by replacing these terms there. And I'm actually not going to do my introduction sentence first. I'm going to start with my first main point. And so I might write something like, my first main point is, if you remember, this isn't actually a good idea, but watch what I'm going to do. My first main point is, and I've already written my first main point. My first main point was, over here, scientists thought the red fox was extinct, but have found that it is still surviving. Okay? So I might take that and say, that is my first main point, is that scientists thought the red fox was extinct, but have found that it is still surviving. What I then think of is, I need a support sentence. Okay? Well, what are some of those supporting details? I might not actually have that, so I might need to look at my article, but my mind map says it's not been seen since 1920. Okay? So I might write, it had not been seen since the 1920s, but was discovered by a camera trap. Okay? That's what the article tells us how it was discovered. So I've now got my first main point and my second main point. All right. Now, we don't actually like this, my first main point is. That sounds a little clunky, so I'm going to delete that. And notice, scientists thought the red fox was extinct, but have found that it is still surviving. It had not been seen since the 1920s, but was discovered by a camera trap. I should go back and edit that. All right? Now, my second main point is scientists do not know how many of the foxes there are. Okay? So I might take that and put it in instead of my second main point. You would obviously need to type this. Okay? I'm going to copy paste it, but scientists do not know how many red foxes there are. It's still endangered. Notice I do have two sentences, so I kind of already have a support sentence there. So be careful that you're not adding too many sentences. And then my third main point is that scientists are unsure of the survival of the foxes because their land may be used. So my third point is, I don't actually write that, but I can type in what I have on my main points if I've done it well. Scientists are unsure of the survival of the foxes because their land may be used. And then I need a support sentence. Okay? So I might say, their land may be used by the U.S. Marines or for snowmobile, snowmobile, what's the word I want? Here's a good chance where I go, I can't quite remember the word. Let's look back to the article and we will find out what that word is. Talked about the snowmobiles, the snowmobile crossings. So we would go back and do that. It's okay to check back occasionally, but we don't want to be staring at the article while we're writing it. Okay? So that's how we turn our main points into part of our conclusion. We're going to, in the next video, talk about how to write a good introduction sentence and a good conclusion sentence.